Dan Purcell. Welcome to the
Hey,
Dad to Dads podcast.
thanks, Robert. Happy to be here.
Man, so you are an intimacy coach, right? So we
I
get to
am.
talk about sex and relationships and all that
That's
good
right.
stuff, huh?
That's right.
Hey, so tell me a little bit about yourself here and kind of what you do, your background, all of that,
Sure.
and maybe how you
Well,
became an intimacy coach.
you're great. Yeah. I have six kids, live a pretty ordinary life. I like to run. I like the outdoors. I like business. I like entrepreneurship, and I really like relationships. Learning how relationships work, what is it that makes great sexual relationships operate has always been something I've been fascinated with,
Hmm.
but never been courageous enough to pursue until about 8 years ago. So how I got into it, um, I I would I would think I'd the last person on the planet. I wouldn't believe you if you told me I'd be on a podcast with you today talking about these things because I came from a good family, but a very conservative Christian home, and my wife did too. Good family, but it's not unusual. Just sex isn't talked about a lot or in a very positive. Not talked about a lot
Right.
or not mentioned at all. Oh, we had the thou shalt not talks, right? But like, how do you build a great sexual relationship that's satisfying and that's going to build and build the longer you've been married? And like those conversations, like how do you actually give pleasure to each other? We don't have those conversations growing up. So I get married. My wife and I are so excited, and I had all these questions. There's things I didn't know. I just uh, one story I'm really embarrassed to share
Let's hear
is
it.
um, all the love songs talk about how you make love all night long. Like
Right.
I was looking forward to making love all night long, and my body wouldn't make
How
love
was
all
that
night
30
long.
seconds?
I know. It's like, wait, I thought there was something wrong with me because like I had nothing to compare it against except for what what the love songs say. So I remember my wife and I were both junior or in our junior year of college when we
Mhm.
were married. I go to the school library and like somewhere in this library, there's got to be a textbook on human sexuality. There's got
Yeah.
to be, and it'll
Yeah.
have the answers as to why I can't last all night long. And I find that section in the library. I'm so embarrassed that I'm even doing this. Like, what would others think? So I kind of wait till it's like a quieter time in the library. And you know how libraries are organized, like
Right.
by subject, right? Like, I don't want to
Right.
be caught dead in that section.
Right.
Like, I quickly find the book. I tuck it under my arm, and I rush to go to the exit. And uh, then there's the next hurdle, which is like actually giving the book to the worker
Right.
to scan it with my student ID card. I'm just no eye contact. Right, I go home and now I'm excited. Like I'm at home.
Right.
I'm gonna find this. So I flip through the pages of the book and I come across like hand-drawn illustrations of like various sex positions and like a 69 and like a
Right.
doggy style and things like that. Like, I just got pornography from the library and I shut the book and I returned it and I never read it. So I was so anxious about it. So um, it, I just didn't know any different. Just anxious in
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah.
And my wife's anxious in sex. So it's like a fish swimming in water that doesn't know is wet. Like,
Right.
well, we just don't talk about it. You just don't. So can you imagine my surprise? 13 years later into my marriage, I'm having a conversation with a friend, and he opens up to me about his sex life.
Huh.
And this isn't like bro locker room
Right.
talk. This is
Right.
like um, him telling me about he and his wife have sex. And the reason why he's telling me these things is he's trying to help me understand something that I don't get. And it is, he's like, Dan, once my wife and I really focused on improving our sexual relationship, everything else in our life improved. Like,
Wow.
we communicate better, we parent together better, we're like sleeping better, our health has improved, my wealth has increased with my work, just like every
Wow.
area of our life has improved once our sex life got better. And I didn't know what to think. First of all, I was blushing the whole time through the conversation. Like, really? You do that? Like people do these things? And another emotion I felt was morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
That's the, ew, gross. Wait, tell me more. No,
Yeah.
I want to know more kind of a feeling. And, but the biggest takeaway from that conversation for me is I was so uncomfortable with the topic, but I was uncomfortable that I was uncomfortable with the topic.
Yeah.
Like,
Makes
I'm
sense.
married. We have kids. Like, why is I'm fascinated by it, yet I'm so uncomfortable about it at the same time. I got to figure this out. So call that a cognitive distortion or whatever you want to call it. That's like when you're like, wait, what I used to know isn't maybe quite fitting in the model anymore. Like, what's going on? So that night, after the kids are in bed around 9 o'clock, um, I get the courage to tell my wife, like, hey, you'd never guess what kind of conversation I had with so and so today. And I was right. She'd never guess. And I told her a little about the conversation. And really, the heart of my question for my wife was, are you satisfied with our sexual relationship? Like, are there, maybe you're not satisfied and you just haven't told me because you're afraid to hurt my feelings? Like,
Right.
are there things about our sex life that you've always thought about and wanted to try or do that you just haven't brought up because we don't talk about it? And talk about a scary conversation. Like,
Yeah.
we're so nervous, I was sweating, everything. Like my wife too. Like we're like, oh,
Yeah. Because you don't know what the answer is going to be.
right. We're nervous and we're like really like trying to figure it out. That was a 5 hour conversation. We
Oh
went to
my
bed after
gosh.
2 a.m. that night, and it was to that point in our marriage was the most vulnerable, open, real and honest conversation we had about our sexual relationship to that point. And next night, a little more, and then just over the next few weeks, we kind of got a little more clarity, and we decided we both needed to learn more about this. So, um, back to the books, but this time, no turning back. we found a we found a few good books, and we're like we're more mature now. We're going to be an adult about this. Let's figure this out for us. And found good podcasts, and then we found good mentors. There's a guy in my neighborhood that's he's a therapist, like a
Hmm.
marriage and therapist. He does more like he calls himself like the ER doc,
Okay.
but like the emergency room doctor for
Yeah.
like high conflict relationships. Um, but he was so encouraging. He's like, "Yeah, totally. You should learn more about sex. You should totally like try these things. Like all these things, they're good. What that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're
Right.
supposed to enjoy and everything." But I had to really get over that, like in my feeling, like I used to think uh, things that are sexual are wrong because anything sexual, it's like the Las Vegas billboard, like that kind of an image. Like
Yep.
it's the, it'll lead me down a path that I don't want to be.
Right.
So I had categorically like dismissed anything about learning about it or discussing it or experiencing it. Yet inside, it wasn't congruent because I wanted a closer relationship with my wife. I wanted a closer bond. I wanted to have more sexual novelty. I want to have more sexual fun. But I had just a really hard time reconciling that. So that process with my wife, really figuring it out over those few weeks and months, dramatically changed our marriage.
About.
And the change was so profound, it inspired a career change for me. Like, holy cow, this stuff is good. More people need to know this and experience this. How can I get this message out better?
Right.
And that leads me to now where now I get to do this full time. I work with married couples, primarily Christian couples that want to improve sex and intimacy in their marriages. And I've gone back to school. I've learned how to be a therapist that's not a licensed therapist so that I
Yeah.
can work with people across state lines. I've learned how to uh, what really works in intimate long-term relationships, how to build novelty, how to keep things great, how to improve that communication, but most importantly, how to create a marriage with a bond that's strong because the sex is really good too. Like that's a component of the overall picture, but it's an intimate marriage, not just a functional marriage. And that's that's my passion. That's my bread
That
and
is
butter.
great. So I want to ask you something. You said that it was somewhat of a, you didn't say taboo, but it sounds like it was a little bit
Yeah,
of a taboo
I'd use
topic.
that word. Uh-huh.
And when you were growing up, right?
Yep.
You have 6 children.
Yep.
I don't know their ages,
Mm.
but your plan, are you going to be, or have you guys decided to be more open with your children when it's age appropriate to discuss sex and the importance in a marriage and all of that? Or,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Always age appropriate advice. My oldest is 20, my youngest is 8.
Okay.
My older
Wait,
two are now adults out of the
your
home. So
oldest is how old?
he's 20 years old.
How old did you say you are?
I'm 44. So
Oh
we
my
had him when we were
gosh.
22. 20 when? Yeah.
Wow.
No, we had him when I was 24, the year I turned 24.
Wow. That's
Gotta do that
amazing.
math. Uh,
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Married at 22. He was
Okay.
born 2 years later.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Um, how common are intimacy problems with couples? I mean, I imagine very common.
Very
How
common.
common is? Yeah.
And it's so common, people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It is so common. Um, we we tend to just accept that there is such a normal part of marriage that uh, we we assume it's not a problem sometimes, but it is so common. In fact, it's so common that we joke about it all the time. Like a quote I heard, I wish I remember who said it, but she says, "Marriage is when you trade the attention of many men for the inattention of one man," which is a joke, but there's a little bit of truth to it, right? That's why it's funny. In other words,
Good.
there's a
Yeah.
normalness to marital intimacy problems. That normal meaning you look at the bell curve and it's like this fat section in the center. Like so many couples deal with it that because everyone deals with it, it must be normal.
Right. Right. And as you're saying that, I'm just thinking, gosh, I hate to really tool on social media.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things maybe we can get into with the challenges and common challenges and such. But I would think with the attention people receive on social media too, that's probably a distraction and probably gets in the way of intimacy as well, on both sides, whether it's, let's pick one sex. If it's a female getting attention from a lot of other males when they post stuff on Instagram, or if it's the male that's looking at Instagram models and spending his time drooling over those versus drooling over his wife. I mean, I imagine is that fairly common?
I think so. It could be. It could be. I mean, people could use social media for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah. It's
Um,
funny. I mean, I sit
yeah.
here and I feel like every other podcast I talk bad about social media, and I use social media so much
Well,
for
it's a tool. I
the
think it's neutral.
podcast, but
Yeah.
it can
Uh-huh.
be good and it can be really, really bad, right?
I think like anything though, is like someone asked, like, is money good or evil?
Yeah, that's true. Good
Depends on how you
point.
spend it.
Good point.
I
So
think social
yeah,
media is neutral. It's how you spend it, how you use
yeah,
it.
talking about how common it is, the intimacy problems. I had read something not too long ago. It was in like the top 3 or top 4 reason I think it was the top 3 reason for divorce.
Yeah,
It was
sex,
financial.
sexual,
Yep.
financial, and
Religion, I think, was
okay,
one of the
religious
one.
differences,
Yep.
significant religious differences. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
definitely divide a marriage for sure. All of those.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
amazing. So what are
yeah,
some, I want to get into what you can do to spice things up and what you can do to reawaken your sex life. But before we do that, what are some of the common issues you see?
the most common issue that I see is the idea that that's alive in the relationship is sex is a duty
Hmm.
that one does for the other. And they might use different words for it, but it's a sense of an obligation, or it's something that should, like there's a strong should somewhere in there. And whether like she has this idea or he has this idea or they both have the idea, when that idea is alive, they might still be a functional couple, they might still have sex, but it can't be passionate, it can't be live, it can't be this like living wonderful like intimate sharing of souls when there's an obligation. And for example, worked with a couple years ago, and they were just being really frank with me. And she says, we have sex about once a week for his mental health. It's like, yeah, it's for my mental health. I get depressed when I don't have sex. It's like, yeah, and I don't like it when my husband's depressed. So I make sure he has sex once a week. And they thought that was a good thing to do. And not that's just the way they were operating. I won't say that's good or bad. But then they're wondering, and we want it to be more passionate. Can we make I want our sex to be more passionate. I want to feel more alive in it. And his complaint was, I feel like she takes too long getting ready for sex, and I wish it was not. I wish it was more than just once a week, and then just like the designated Friday night time. I wish she'd make more of an effort. She's like, well, I am making an effort. I bought new lingerie last week. It's like, yeah, but it sat in the bag for a few days. Like you didn't like. The thing is, they're trying to like prove to each other that they're being their best, that they're bringing their best when they're not. They're trying to convince each other that you should be happy with what you're getting because I'm putting out for you. And she's basically saying you should take what I'm offering and just be happy with it. Why can't you just be happy with that? And he's saying, why don't you bring more of your heart to what you do? You just can't create a passionate relationship when there's some sort of this element of like you're doing it for an obligation.
So a way of fixing that or remedying that, I'm just kind of wondering in my mind, was he if he has this need or desire for at least once a week, was he doing anything on the front end and on the back end to make her excited for what's about to come, whether it's starting to flirt with her in the morning, different things. Was he just like, yep, it's 7:00 on Tuesday. It's time for, it's bang session, was he that way? And then was he, when he was, when they were finished, was he's like, all right, I'm going to go watch the game. I wonder, I guess my thing is,
Right.
I get it where
The thing is, he thinks he is. He thinks he's
he is,
doing
but
all
he's
the
not
things.
meeting her
I
needs
bought you
with that.
flowers. I take you on a date night. I do all the dishes, or you ask me to watch the kids that you can go have a night out. I always happy to do those things. So when I ask you for sex, can't you just do me a favor back? Like, I would give you my kidney if you needed it. Why can't you just give me sex?
It'd be interesting to know what her love language is.
I think love language is an important thing, but here's the crux of the issue for the couple, and this is what I want our listeners to understand. This is what I see from my professional point of view. It's not about love languages.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about is he flirting with her enough. It's that because it's some sort of an obligation frame, it's a tit for tat. It's if I scratch your back, then you need to scratch mine. There's this expectation for reciprocity.
Yes.
It's this transactional nature. And so sex is reduced to
Well,
something.
that takes love out of it completely.
Yeah, it does. And you might do loving things or act lovingly towards each other, but there can't be love in it.
Yeah.
Because it's never completely freely given because it's not freely received. It's expected. There's this little bit of entitlement kind of woven throughout the whole thing.
No, that makes sense. So with a couple like that, what do you do? Like, how do you, I guess it would be kind of on both ends, there's work on both ends there, but what do you do?
This is where I come in, and this is where I find my work so satisfying. There's no strategy, by the way. There's not like a A, B, C pattern per se, but there's a few frameworks that I work. But my job is to help the couple see the consequences for the kind of pattern that they're doing and give them language for what's really going on, because they don't see that they're in this kind of a pattern and the harm it's having, because it's just the way they operate. They just don't see any different. Buckminster Fuller says he's a systems theory guy. Said it this way: we to if you fight against the current system, you'll never solve it. You have to create a new model that's superior, that makes the old system obsolete. That's how you solve
Okay.
problems. Another way of saying it, Einstein said it this way: you can't solve a problem at the same level of thinking you used to create the problem.
Yeah, it's
You have to
good.
like raise your level of thinking to a new way or a new model, and that makes the old model obsolete. And now you're operating kind of at a different paradigm, and that's what it does. So my job isn't like, okay, you need to give her, more back massages, or you need to learn her love language and give her more quality time. That will just reinforce the current pattern in the
Right.
current system. I have to teach them how to like break that pattern, break that old model, and give them a new model that's going to be superior to the way they're operating today.
That makes sense. So can you go a little bit further into that couple? Like, what did you suggest for them? Like, what
Yeah.
specifically?
Yep. What I say is uncomfortable because they don't like
Yeah.
hearing it.
So, well, sure.
But step one is stop having sex if it feels like a whiff of obligation. And it's hard because it's risky. It
Yeah.
means we might not be having any sex. And there's that choice now. Like a lot of people would rather have some sex that's crappy than the chance of not having sex, even if they hold out for something that might be better, because it feels so risky. It's a hard choice. But I have to help them see that they have a choice, and if they got to make the decision that is going to be more in line with what they really want. So I think most people, not everyone that I work with succeeds, but most people, if they really see that they really do have a choice, I frame it as it's a personal dilemma that they face.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about fixing their spouse. It's like for the wife, for example, it's like when you have sex because it's to manage his emotions so he doesn't get moody, you will never be able to feel really free in sex. You'll
It's
never
true.
be able to feel like you can really be seen and be yourself, because you'll always be beholden to him in some way or another. Um,
Well, yeah, that whole act, the way that whole act is just for his benefit. There's
yeah.
no benefit for her
And she might even have
because,
orgasms, and she might even have physical pleasure from it,
yeah,
but there's still like orgasm isn't the measure of a thriving sexual relationship alone. Like it's incomplete. There's so much more to it. She's missing heart. She's missing
right,
soul.
right.
And so when I help frame it in a way they understand, and they go, okay, I really do have a choice here. Part of it is and this is also a hard truth, is part of being married is being okay with hurting your spouse's feelings. And I'm not saying be a jerk.
Yeah, but that's love too, right?
Yes, it's love. What is more loving? Keep the
Yes.
obligation frame going, or no, I'm not going to do that anymore. And you're going to be upset because I told you no tonight, even though you want it.
Yeah.
But if I engaged, it'd totally be about, I would be doing it only to manage your emotions, and I don't want to engage in that anymore. And you're going to be upset about it. And sometimes it's just so uncomfortable that your spouse is upset with you that they'll fold too quickly, or
Yeah.
they'll yield too quickly if it's a yielding person, or they'll withhold or distract themselves with the kids or hobbies or other things, or we have different patterns that we
Right.
like to do. And you know your spouse well enough, you know their buttons you can push to really get on the back off. But it's really about integrity. It all comes down to integrity. So I help couples. What is it? Integrity. What is it within themselves that if they were to live in this way would be more in line, would be a more honest way to live, would be more in line with who they really want to be to their core, and start shifting your behavior to be more in line with your integrity. And that takes courage.
Yeah, it
And I
does.
see a lot of courageous couples in my work that
Wow.
inspire me every day.
What other, I mean, there's so much to cover, and I know we have a limited time, but what other issues or challenges do you see that are facing couples that maybe lack true intimacy in their relationship?
Um,
Like common ones.
it can be hiding. Hiding is a common one.
What do you mean
One
hiding?
couple, for example, they started a business, and uh, he did the business primarily. He handled the finances of the business primarily. She did some of the work, but it was mostly him, and it wasn't going well. But he thought he could save it, and he didn't want to tell his wife about how the business was struggling, and he wanted to project the idea of success because he didn't want his wife to worry. Because he thought,
Right.
I'll figure it out. We'll work through this until things got so bad that he couldn't hide it anymore.
Yeah.
And then she found out about it, and now she felt really betrayed. Like, how come you didn't tell me sooner how horrible, how bad of the thing is? I wouldn't have gone spending on all these things had I knew things were really as bad as they really are. And I think that's a natural human tendency. We kind of want to protect others, especially in men. Men, I think it's part of our genes. We
Well, when you're saying that, I'm
want to be
thinking about
protected.
that sounds a lot like ego.
It is ego. Absolutely. 100% ego. It is ego. But he thought his motives were pure because he wanted to protect his wife from feeling like things were chaotic, and he wanted her to feel safe and secure, and he wanted to provide security and safety. But it wasn't based on truth. It wasn't real. So that's when I say hiding is another issue. It's that's like an example of it. Uh, it's different than lying, like flat out
Right.
lying. I mean,
Right.
it's maybe a little deceptive, but it's a little bit, but it's the hiding and this is one reason why pornography use is problematic for a lot of married couples, because often it's an activity done in hiding, and when it does come to light, it feels very hurtful to the other person. Um, so that's an example of something else that's like pornography use is another issue that I think
Oh,
affects a lot of
I
couples.
cannot imagine. I mean, just, you know, how common that is, the issues in relationships with
Mhm.
pornography, because it is, once we got these things, I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's everywhere.
Ta-da! You can
I mean,
find it
it's
quickly.
literally everywhere. It's crazy.
hmm
And,
Yeah.
just so common. I mean, I had somebody on a while back and we were talking about it, and um, she was talking about, how we were kind of similar, same age. And she was talking about how when you were young, way back then when I was young, it was magazines and you put the image in your head.
hmm
And now it's literally accessible in a couple of clicks, it's
hmm
there. So yeah, I'm sure pornography is huge, plays a
Yeah, it can
huge
really
role in that.
disrupt a relationship for sure.
Not just, I think about that also of what sex is too with pornography, what truly intimacy, true sex, what that is when you compare that to pornography, and kind of going to back what was in your mind of originally of lasting all night long when you were like, hey, wait a minute, that wasn't even a minute,
Right.
but,
It's over.
yeah, I was just getting started. You
That's
know,
it.
and then you watch pornography, and completely different views of reality there with
Right.
reality, what it
Yeah,
really
yeah.
is.
It's like if your only view of basketball was watching the NBA, and
Yeah,
then you go play, like, how come I can't dunk?
yeah, no, good, great point, great point. I imagine with the way everything is right now, that life stress, work, financial, all of that plays a big part. Is that fairly accurate?
Yeah, and you and I are both in midlife, and
Yeah.
that's the reality of midlife. It is a very complex phase of life.
Yeah.
Lots of pressures, lots of distraction, lots of things pulling us. But uh, um,
Kids.
yeah, yeah, kids, health issues, aging parents, you name
Hmm.
it. Like the list can go on and on and on and on and on. And loss is real and it hurts. It's hard.
Yeah.
So building a intimate relationship, when you prioritize that, it can actually be a huge help because you're partnered with someone they can be shoulder to shoulder with and bear the burdens of life together. So I don't think stressors break marriages. I think it's how we choose to respond to the stressors
Hmm.
and what we prioritize in that. I like that quote from, is it Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning? Between stimulus and response, there is a space.
Yep.
Like, we got to remember we have choices. We're agents. And sometimes the choices are crappy choice A and crappy choice B. Like, but there's still a choice, and we
Yeah.
can still choose in it what our choices are going to be. And unfortunately, we can't dictate choices of other people. And there are
Yeah.
going to be times your spouse won't choose you. And that's a hard reality. You might choose them. You might be doing all the right things, and they just choose otherwise. And that does happen. And so the more clarity you can get, the more you can wrap your mind around what's really going on. And that's why I think, like you've talked about on your podcast, a therapist that could really see you, like really help you see yourself. Like, he wasn't going to beat around the bush. He was going to talk straight to you, right? Like, that kind of a
Yeah.
person in a person's life, kind of that third view. And that doesn't have to be a paid professional. It could be a trusted friend. Like, these are gifts in our lives that can really help us navigate the nuances of that difficult times in our life when we do have stressors and we do have things and people aren't making choices that you would make, or maybe you're not making the right choices either. So life kind of has this way of like not always being fair, not always being predictable, and we're not always in control of it. But um, I do think uh, we can always choose our integrity
Hmm.
and choose our own self-respect. And it might feel like a consolation prize sometimes. Like, that's all I got. I did all that work, and all I got was a T-shirt, and that says I have my own self-respect. But it really is no small consolation prize, because it's the one thing people can never take from you is your self-respect.
As you're saying this, as we've been talking, I feel like one word just keeps popping in the back of my head. It's communication, communication, communication.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And it's just, I think a lot of it is probably the lack of safe communication. Is that fairly accurate?
I think so. I have a nuanced view on communication. I believe we're always communicating something, whether we like it or not.
True.
And this is what I mean. Like that story of the couple that was struggling financially and
Hmm.
he was hiding. In the greater story of that, what is he communicating to his wife in that moment?
I mean, to me, it's like he's
There's
that
lots
I
of
don't,
things he's communicating,
yeah,
but
but one, I don't trust you. Or
yes,
I don't,
exactly. Right.
yeah,
I don't trust you. I don't
yeah,
think you can handle.
yeah,
Yeah, you're weak. You're fragile.
yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
'Cause you're
I
not,
just want the
you're not
truth. You can't
capable of
handle the truth.
handling what I'm dealing with.
Yep, exactly. Another thing he's probably communicating in that is, um, uh, I have a hard time confronting truth, confronting reality. Do you see? We're always broadcasting, whether we
Right,
like it or not. We're always
right.
communicating something. And when we talk about couples who have communication problems, the joke is they don't have communication problems. They just don't like what is being communicated.
It's
They
true.
don't they don't like the message, the greater message that's being sent and
So
received.
it's also improving not only how it's being sent, but how it's received, and that they're clearly
Yeah.
receiving it and how it's being received, and then maybe structuring it. Maybe it's structuring of how somebody receives it better or how somebody delivers it better as well. Is that?
I think that's right. Because if you're mean about it, or you're
Hmm.
a jerk about it, or you're um, withholding truths about it, like, I think all that matters definitely, and we pick up on that.
What about age? I think about, as males get older, testosterone decreases. I mean, I know
Uh-huh.
there's TRT and different things they can do to increase their testosterone. But their desire for sex decreases. I think about
Hmm.
women as they age and their hormones, you know, change and they go through, where, oh, I can't even think about that, no, have no desire. How
Hmm.
much of an issue is that or how often do you see that fairly common as well?
Yes. because
And those
that's
two cycles never happen. The males never happen the same time with the females either, right? So
yeah,
you're
we're talking about menopause and
right,
andropause for men
right,
is the term for
right.
that. That's like it's it's a lot more dramatic for women,
Yeah,
right? Menopause is, and for men it's more of a steady decline.
right.
Um, yes. However, there are couples in their 60s and 70s that are having the best sex of their life. So it's not the
That's
end,
cute. That's good. I mean, it's cute.
right?
Yeah,
Because there's something about I've gone through life with you. I've gone through ups and downs with you. I don't have a my body, like gravity is doing its thing. I'm sagging here. I've got cellulite there. Like my penis doesn't function the way I want it to all the time like it used to. But man, can I bring up my heart here? I
yeah,
can
yeah.
bring me to this. And that's not a small thing. And I can look into your eyes as I make love to you. Like there's something that a 60-year-old can bring to bed that an 18-year-old can't. Because an 18-year-old's still trying to figure out who he is, right? But a
Right.
60-year-old
True.
knows who he is. Like there's something about that that maturity that you can really bring to the sexual experience. That's not just about your body functioning all the time. That can be very erotic and very life-giving to a relationship. So I'm not, yes, there are definite challenges that come with aging and menopause and so on, but it's not the end. It's things have to shift. It's going to be a new model you have to adopt, but it can be a better model if you let it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then men do have a little extra help if needed with the blue pill
Yeah, that does
too,
help. Yeah, it does help.
if they need that. I mean, I guess that doesn't help desire, but if there is desire and the performance isn't there, they can pop a pill and
Mhm.
be good to go, you
The
know?
pill helps because it helps with blood flow and it helps maintain an erection longer. Because as you age, the microscopic blood vessels in your penis start to break down. And it's those microscopic blood vessels, they're smooth muscles, they're like a gate that when they relax, it allows blood in.
Okay.
And now, if you have blood that rushes in and stays there forever, it will clot, it will break down, no longer oxygenate your tissues. Like, it'll cause a lot of pain, a lot of problems.
Right.
So, to counteract that, your body naturally produces an enzyme at the same time that counteracts uh, the smooth muscles staying open.
Hmm.
That's why it's normal to have an erection and then over time it goes away. Like
Right.
if it never went away, can you imagine how much pain we would be
Yeah.
in?
No, that's true.
Right. So they found a drug. It's a PDE5 inhibitor because PDE5 is the enzyme and
Okay.
it blocks a little bit of the body's natural response to reverse the erection. So
Huh.
the blood vessels stay open longer and open a little longer to keep blood flow in the penis. So that's all the
Interesting.
drug does. It doesn't help. I mean, it's not a psychoactive drug. It doesn't like
Yeah.
change your mental state. All it does is affect, it just blocks the PDE5 receptor so that your body doesn't shut down as fast. And that's the miracle of that drug. So desire still has to come from within.
Yeah.
It's still something you have to work from, but it can aid with the physical side of sex. And sometimes it's like the placebo effect too.
Hmm.
Like if I take this, then it's going to help me. And so there is definitely a strong psychological help that comes with it. Um,
There's
but it's
nothing.
it's a
I
that's
mean,
how it
tell me
works.
this. Is there anything that helps with desire? I guess not. I mean, I
If
wouldn't.
there was, I'd be a billionaire,
Billionaire. Yeah, I was trying to think, like, would there be
trillionaire.
anything? I mean, I'm trying. There was,
Like Harry Potter, like this like love potion spell. Oh, I'm so in love with someone else.
what was that old rumor? Spanish fly.
Okay,
Have,
I haven't
have you
heard
ever
this
heard of
one.
that?
Uh-uh.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm a lot older than you. Um, there was, and some people listening will probably know what I'm talking about. There was a rumor that there was something called Spanish fly. Have no idea what it is, what it was. Supposedly you could get it over the border or something like that, and it would
Right.
make anybody want to have sex.
Uh-huh.
It's like, really? Like, I mean, that sounds a little too good to be true. And of course it
Hmm.
was, it's
Uh-huh.
no telling what was in it, if it was such a thing, but that was a big rumor
I bet
years
the
ago.
person that came up with it made $1 million.
But yeah, if so, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. All right. So let's move on to desire and
Yeah.
no, maybe not desire, but spicing things up.
Yeah.
What do you, that's probably all over the board. It probably is different with each couple,
Personalities and everything, the temperament,
personality,
everything. Uh-huh.
but what do you recommend?
People have generally, research shows there's three categories of erotic interest.
Okay.
Erotic is not a dirty word for me. It's like what you find sexually interesting. Um, the three categories, and you might have a blend of all three,
Right.
but primarily there's one that sticks out more than the other. First is the physical side of sex. This is
Okay.
the pleasure I feel in my body is what really gets me excited about sex. It's the orgasm, or it might be the slow caressing of our bodies. It's the sensuality of it, like the smells, the sights, everything. That's where I derive a lot of sexual excitement from. That's category one.
Okay.
Category two is found in the relationship itself. It's who you are, it's who I am, it's feeling seen. You've probably heard of people where they had like a really ugly fight, but then they repair it, and then they have like the hottest sex they've ever had
Yeah.
after
Makeup
the
sex.
repair makeup sex, but it's like
Yeah.
really hot.
Right.
That's like what I'm talking about. Like that's a category of this. I derive a lot of sexual interest because of the relationship. There's something about us that I find very erotically interesting. The third category is the more psychological side, it's the fantasy side. This is where role playing is really interesting to people. Like, oh yeah, I totally want to dress up and you try to, hook me up or whatever. Like, we
Right.
create some sort
Right.
of scenario
Right.
where there's a lot of interest for that. Or the way we play is going to involve a lot of this, like, make believe kind of a thing. And so there's, or you're really into power play. Like it's really hot
Okay.
when
Yeah.
you tie me up. I don't know, whatever it is that you find
Right.
that. So uh, there's no categorically one size fits all, like this is what you do, because it will really depend on where you tend to gravitate more towards. But if you understand what your blueprint or whatever you want to call it is, and you understand your spouse's blueprint a little bit better too, the more you understand each other, then you can create sexual experiences that I think both of you would find a lot more enticing, something you actually are looking forward to participating in.
So you're saying that I wonder, are there cases at times where when you find that out, there's somebody that they just don't match up,
It's less about matching
where,
up.
somebody's like, oh, my erotica or my fantasies about role play and you dressing up as
A
school
stripper
teacher, a
or
cheerleader,
whatever.
a stripper or
Right.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
And, the wife's like, there's no way in hell I'm going to do that.
Yeah, well,
You know?
then that couple will need to work that out. You
Yeah.
might have to find some other common ground. Like,
Okay.
that's life. Now, one thing I know absolutely for sure is in most long-term healthy relationships, you've married your opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Because if you're the exact same person, you probably wouldn't have gotten married in the first place because there's no attraction there. Like, in order for attraction to happen, there has to be polarity.
Yeah.
Polarity is like a positive magnet pole and negative magnet pole, and it needs to have some tension. So the fact that I am married to a woman who's very different than me, thinks differently than I am, has different interests than I do, like that has to exist in order for our marriage to work long term.
Right. Right.
So too many couples try to collapse the um, the polarity. They collapse it too quick. And then there's no attraction because you're trying to make the other person be more like you in every way. And now they're no longer a three-dimensional different person. You've flattened them. And then you wonder why you don't find them sexually appealing anymore. It's because of the way
What do you recommend for couples? Let's say they're, they have young kids and they are just pulled at both ends with events for the kids, with their life challenges. So many people now, it's two household families. So they're both working, they have kids, and again, all the activities involved with that. They come home at the end of the day. By the time they get the kids fed and kids down, it's, hey, I've got they have an hour just to de-stress before they go to bed and start it all over again tomorrow.
Right.
What do you recommend for couples like that?
Great. So we're not talking about spicing it up right now per se.
No,
We're
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
switching gears a little
I'm
bit. We're going
switching.
to talk
Sorry,
about
ADD.
yeah, that's great. So I get this idea from Dr. Stephen Snyder. He calls it the two-step. And I'm sure it's been said in other ways, but I just like the way he explains it.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Snyder, he's a sex therapist in New York City, in Manhattan. Talk about busy. Talk about like go, 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 go lifestyle. And these are the people he works with, these couples that he works with. And first thing what I love what he says is just go for good enough. And be like, good enough is good enough. Like sometimes we think because it's not like hanging from the chandeliers or some like mind-blowing experience every single time, there's something wrong with us. It's like he walks out of his office, it's late at night, he can see all these apartments and the lights are on, and he wonders to himself, how many couples are having sex tonight in that building? Well, maybe if they're newlywed, they'd probably be having a whole lot more. But this is kind of, midlife in the chaos of things with kids.
Yeah.
They can get for some couples, once a week is great for them, or once a month might be great for them. What's good enough? And good enough is good enough, which kind of goes counter to what the best-selling books, like what you'd see on the cover, like how to have mind-blowing sex tonight.
Right.
They always want to sell us something because we wouldn't buy something that said how to have
Good
okay
enough.
sex
Yeah.
most of the time. But the reality is, if you can accept that good enough is good enough, it does wonders for your sexual relationship. Because you're not.
What about couples who mutually agree? Like, all right, Tuesday night at 8:00. That's just for us. Every Tuesday, that's going to be our intimacy.
Time.
Yeah, our sex time. What is that okay? Is it not, or what?
As long as what you schedule is something that you will both. Okay, another way of saying it. As long as what you're scheduling is non-obligatory sex.
So as long as it's mutually agreed to.
That's
Or
not
not even
exactly what I
mutually.
mean. For
Okay.
example, let's say my wife would never turn down a makeout session. She loves to make out. Like a great passionate kissing session. Awesome. It doesn't mean it has to lead to sex.
Right.
That's something that she finds very physically connecting that she'll never say no to. And I like that too. That's what you schedule. We're scheduling a makeout session. We're not scheduling sex.
Gotcha.
We're scheduling a makeout session. Or it might, for another couple, it might be, Tuesday night, we're going to lie together in bed, no clothes, naked, and we have lots of eye
What
contact.
happens
We'll
happens.
talk. That's what you schedule.
Gotcha.
Now, sometimes organically, desire is going to show up and then it might move in that way. Other times, it's not. But that's not the measure of if you did it right or not. The measure is we did the naked cuddling or we did the naked talking time. That is what you schedule.
And so for those couples, it's also managing the obligation, but also, or eliminating the obligation and managing expectations.
Yes. And it's choosing something that you can feel really free in. That's still, because you're going for connection first, emotional connection first.
That makes sense. All right, let's get back to spicing things up.
All right.
What else do you recommend with couples?
Well, I have a mobile app that I recommend for couples.
Oh,
it's
Lord,
called
I didn't know
Intimately
that.
Us. We can talk about in depth if you like, or
Yeah.
wherever you want to go. So this is an app my wife and I created a few years ago. That was I mentioned my story and how I made a mobile app that kind of started things off for my career change. Now, our goal was to create an app that kind of serves as an idea. It was basically a collection of what we were learning and studying. It has bedroom games. So imagine it's date night. You're like, let's have some spicy fun time together. You can open this app and there's different games you can choose from. And some are going to be really goofy. Some are going to be a little more sensual. Some are going to be more maybe role play-esque. But You can play a game. An example of one is a stripping game. It's more on the goofy side. It's Battle Strip instead of the old classic Battleship game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have your phone, your spouse has their phone, and you're synced, and you don't reveal your screen to each other, and you kind of have to guess where their items of clothing are. Like, and you try to sync it, and if it's sunk, they have to remove that item of clothing. So that's like an example of one, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of hot and fun.
Yeah.
Another one is like it starts. It's a turn based with a timer.
Okay.
So you set the timer. It has a 2 minute timer, and it gives you a prompt that you do, and you take turns. So it might be like give her a back rub. So 2 minutes later, it dings. Now it's a new prompt. Give him a lap dance. I don't know, I'm making this up, but it gets spicier and spicier and spicier as it progresses. And most couples don't finish that game by design. So, so that's also
Did you come
there's
up with
something
all
about the
these
timer
games, or
component that just makes it really erotic because you're in the throes of something that feels really good, and then the timer goes off. It is so frustrating.
did you? I bet. Did you come up with these games, or?
So, anyway, that's a fun game. You said something, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you come up with these games?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, my wife and I together did.
That's great. So it's
And
not an app where you're like, oh, I'm tired of us doing the same positions. Let's find something
oh, it is because I
different. Oh,
also
it
have
is too.
stick
So,
figure. I have a whole catalog of like 120 sex positions, but they're
oh
stick
wow.
figure drawings. They're not going to be like it's not
Okay.
pornographic.
Okay.
It
Okay.
gives you the idea and it gives you what to do. I also have a whole section, we call it the library, that has in-depth how-to articles for all sorts of sexual behaviors. Like if you ever want to try X, Y,
Wow.
or Z, and it's written in a very straightforward way, but it's not raunchy and it's not crass.
And this is all in the app.
Yes. Yep.
What is the name of the app?
Intimately Us.
Okay. And I guess you can find that on Apple and different ones.
Yep. Apple and Google. Yep. Android.
Wow, that is interesting. I didn't realize you had that. That's really interesting.
Mhm.
And it'd be great to talk to couples who have used it as well, and to
Yeah.
hear their
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, you'll find some reviews on my website, of course, or on the Play stores, like on the app stores. You can read some of the reviews, see what couples say.
So you literally have in there the different positions too. If people are like, you know what, we always use do the same
I don't know,
three, four
missionary position.
position.
Let's do something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do something creative.
Yeah.
And you just kind of spin the big wheel and it,
Right. You
okay.
could, or sort by category, like
Yeah.
I want a position where she's in control
Okay.
and it's a rear entry, like base, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's do those. Or we really like oral sex, so give me something that's kind of involves oral sex or whatever it is. Like you can really find that there.
You have come out of your shell from a guy who this wasn't really discussed much as a kid, haven't you?
I guess I have. Yeah, I've grown a lot, but um, the most rewarding part for me is seeing the changes that can come in other people's lives and the
I
joy they
bet.
have in their marriages. They got that smile on their face. There's this sense of aliveness in their relationship.
I bet.
That that's the joy for me.
That,
That's
yeah,
that's
I bet that is extremely rewarding. You know, you have a couple that come in and you're meeting with a couple and you just see it's just cold. There's no energy, there's no spark, no
right.
chemistry. And then, you know, after a few sessions or however long it takes, next thing you see them holding each other, holding hands and looking at each other and, you know, that twinkle or sparkle in their eye, you know, as they look at each other and the giggles. I bet that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. Yeah.
I
I
bet
think
that is
that's our
extremely
path to
rewarding.
world peace.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
More
so.
sex, more
Right.
sex, less war, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's also my war on poverty.
There
Like
you go.
it's bedroom poverty.
There
That's not what I'm making war on.
you go. There you
Yeah.
go. What else? What else? If, advice or anything like that that you want to leave for couples? That maybe it's something that we haven't hit on. Or tips.
Yeah, I think we've kind of danced around this theme the whole time, but I believe that best sex is intimacy based. If you want to have sex, the kind of sex that you feel very transcendent, the kind where you walk out of the bedroom a different person than the one that you came in at. That's what we really want, right? We want sexual
Yeah.
experiences that change us, that we feel replenished, we feel seen, we feel like the sense. I'm using like spiritual language here, but it's just like deep connected, like to a greater purpose than ourselves. This profound depth to it. It doesn't come by just doing a new position tonight. I mean, that could be part of it, but you don't extract it by just the doing. It's by bringing your heart to it. It really has to be it has to come from your heart. It's who you are and who you become, and what it's bringing more self to the bed, which is scary. Because it really means intimacy, as in into me see. It's like really letting someone in. And oftentimes the person you're letting in is different from you, has different ideas than you do, has different priorities than you do. And learning how to create a marriage where there's room for two people. Like your point of view is valid, and my point of view is valid. And somewhere in between here in this paradox is where we can be. And it's building that kind of a relationship. That's intimate. Being honest and being grounded in reality, that's intimate. Being able to look each other in the eye as you make love, that's intimate. Intimacy is the framework. Intimacy is the goal. The more intimate you are capable of being, or the more capable you're at tolerating the discomfort of being intimate, I should say, the more profound your sexual experiences will be.
And that makes a lot of sense as to how that would improve other areas of your life as well.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. How can people find you? Name of the app again, and then how else can people find you?
Yep. It is Intimately Us is the name of the app. But I have a special guest for your listeners. So if they'll go to getyourmarriageon.com, and this podcast is Dad to Dads. So getyourmarriageon.com/dad2dads, all one word, no hyphens or no spaces.
Okay.
It'll take you to a landing page. I'll email you a few things. First is I have this guide. You can buy it on my website for $10, or you'll get it for free. It's 101 ways to creative ways to initiate sex. I also have 101 ways to spice up your sex life. That's another guide I have for sale on my site that I'll give you for free. I also have links to my podcast, Get Your Marriage On. I also have the links to the Intimately Us app, which we talked about. And I have a link to another app, which we didn't talk about today. It's called Just Between Us. And it's a messaging, it's a sexting app for couples. And it's absolutely guaranteed that what you send will not, can only be seen by the person that you're seeking.
Okay.
And then I have a few other guides. You can learn more about my coaching. You can learn more about my podcast and all the other resources that we have there. But you'll only get it if you go to getyourmarriageon.com/dad2dads.
Okay, great. I'll also put that on there as well, and make sure to put a link when this comes out. That's exciting. That's really exciting. I appreciate that. And then are you on Instagram as well or not?
I am. My handle is Get Your Marriage On.
Okay. I'll put that link and tag you and everything as well. Dan, I really appreciate you coming on. I really do. And this was interesting. When we talked, I'm like, this is good. This is going to be interesting. But the podcast is about so many things. It's, it's dads, it's parenting, it's relationships. And, sex is a huge component, a very important component to relationships with your partner, with your spouse. And, extremely important component. And so I thought it only made sense for us to have this discussion. And I appreciate you spending time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. You're a great host. What a great discussion we had.
Thank you. I definitely enjoyed the conversation. I certainly did. And I appreciate you saying that. When you say a great host, I don't know about that, but I love talking to people, but thank you for your kind words.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Great.
Hey, and thank you all again for listening to the Dads podcast. You can find us on Apple or Spotify, as well as most formats. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and feel free to leave a comment. I read every single comment. I enjoy most of your comments, and I especially enjoy the topic suggestions as well. So thank you all again, and we will talk with you next time.